Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show! And it's our 101st episode.
Yeah.
Nick, do you want to do a couple, you want to start off the player introductions while I pull up the recap?
Sure. I'm Nick. I play Thaddeus Hammerlock, the Human Vengeance Paladin.
I'm Kay. I play Harmony, who is the Tiefling Wild Magic Sorcerer.
I'm Melissa. I mean, I'm worried about this next word I'm going to say because of Nick.
I'm trying not to look at you. I didn't want to make you nervous.
I'm Mara, and I'm a swashbuckler.
Pirate.
Thank you very much.
You got corrected.
A human swashbuckler pirate.
Okay, I see.
Swashbuckler Rogue?
Yeah.
A human swashbuckler rogue pirate.
Rogue Pirate.
Just keep adding on. I'm Zach, and I play Hunter, who's a Warforged Fighter Ranger.
So a couple quick announcements, and then we'll get into things. We stream on Twitch every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then post those episodes to YouTube the following Wednesday. We use a variety of custom items, as well as a custom wild magic table. So if you're interested in any of that, that's where that's coming from. Our music comes from BattleBards, TabletopAudio, and Incompetech. And our character portraits, which you can see on the info cards in the top right, were drawn by Carrie Peach, who goes by @CarrieDraws on Twitter. So then, if you're watching us on Twitch, you can check the channel page for links and info to everything I just mentioned and more. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can check the video description for similar information. Then, if you want more info about us and when we're doing things and what's happening, you can follow us on Twitter @AntiheroesAnon. And other than that, we just hope you enjoy the show, and we'll get right into it. So, a little bit of recap, since it's been a week for us as players, too. Joined by
Opposed to.
as opposed to the viewers who are, you know what I mean.
Okay.
We had a week off. It's been 2 weeks, actually, not one. Rough start. The party, joined by their ally Kamiko, set sail aboard the Drowning Kiss. The compass which they were using to guide them towards passage through the black fog that seals off the Elderhaven reaches from the rest of the world led them to a massive structure with a vast passage carving into it that rose up from the sea, and they sailed their boat into it. There they met a group of lesser giants led by Shiten, the troll, who asked that they help his faction win the reordering games, which would allow them the sway to steer the vessel which they were traveling in towards the Elderhaven reaches. The party then went and won in a rigged game of dice, a duel of single combat, and a hunting competition, securing a victory for Shuten's faction. But Shuten then double-crossed them and revealed himself to be secretly an Oni, and he moved to stop the party from healing the vessel and steering it in the direction they wished. The party overcame Shuten in a confrontation in the spirit world, and met with Genbu, the first of the great spirits of the Elderhaven Reaches, the great black turtle and the Lord of Water. They then learned from him a little bit about the state of the Elderhaven Reaches, and that he was going to begin swimming in that direction for them. So we ended the last time we played with the party sailing the Drowning Kiss out from underneath Genbu's shell and into the world, seeing the wall of black fog that stretches all the way up to the sky and out of sight behind the Drowning Kiss, and the shores of one of the northern islands of the Elderhaven Reaches, blanketed in snow on just before the Drowning Kiss. And the group of you then began to set sail and make for the direction that you were going. So Asmara is sort of standing at the steering wheel at the start of today's episode, and beginning to make her direction towards, you guys had decided, I believe, the first island on the shopping list for you to visit is
Hazuki?
Yeah, Hazuki, which is Byaku's domain. So as you begin to sail in a southward direction, the wind in the sails, Mari, you think back, and you can't help but have your mind linger for a moment on the brief moment back in Genbu's chamber within the spirit world, where Genbu snapped his fingers, and the rest of your party left the spirit world to go make preparations with the giants. But you and Kamiko remained behind. And we're going to sort of flash back to that first before we get into the other hidden witches.
Can we, have we had a long rest?
Not yet.
Okay.
There we go. So Genbu kind of snaps his fingers, and you watch Mara as the group of your friends sort of sparkle and fade from existence, becoming sort of transparent and then vanishing entirely. And then you begin to see the fuzzy, hazy forms of where they seem to be standing in the material world corresponding to the spirit world, which overlaps, sort of stir and move. And take notice of the fact that your and Kamiko's bodies aren't moving. And then they seem to come to some decision and leave the chamber for the moment, leaving you and Kamiko's bodies behind.
Putting notes on your faces.
To remind you of,
That's right.
to remind you of the scene within the spirit world, it's sort of a, after you defeated the Oni Shuten, the area transformed into sort of a tranquil grove filled with greenery, water, and a stream that flowed around the central island where this beautiful carved statue of a black turtle. And then there were two or three black sea turtles that sort of swim in ceaseless circles around that island. And then, sort of off to the side of that island, there were these rocks, which Genbu had motioned everyone to, and sort of as you sat into them, they were cushy like beanbag chairs, and they just sort of formed around you to form a perfectly comfortable rock chair. And Genbu was sort of standing in the middle of this circle of rocks, and now that it's just you and Kamiko, he turns to you and says, "So I'd imagine you guys have a lot of questions, man. I mean, I did just point out that you're like the reincarnation of one of my greatest followers and whatever, you know? That's not the sort of thing that you just, you know, you learn and then you don't ask any questions about it. So now's the time. I got questions, dude. Hit me with them."
So are you saying that I am her grandmother? I point to Kamiko.
He sort of like thinks for a second and then does a little bit of a slow nod and says, "Well, yeah, in sort of a weird roundabout cosmic sort of sense, I guess." You could say that, dude.
Well, why is it that she recognized something in me, but I didn't really recognize anything in her?
You know, I can't really say. As far as I know, in the history of the reincarnation cycle for Susa, there's never been any overlap between her actual descendants and one of her reincarnated forms. We're kind of in uncharted territory, man. As it were, so to speak.
We're not here. No, good.
Yeah, I know. I'm just sort of blown away. This is really, I'm very honored to be associated with Kamiko.
And Kamiko then pipes up and says, and you find that in the spirit world, even though she's probably still speaking the language Keen, or at least in this moment, because there might have been moments earlier where she was speaking Keen and you didn't fully understand her, but there's some magic to this moment where it's just the three of you, where when she speaks, you understand her as if it were in your common tongue.
Okay.
And she says, "You know, Mara, I'm deeply honored to be related to you in this weird sort of roundabout way. Though I do find you a little bit different from my mother in a few ways. There are elements of your spirit that obviously I recognize and that resonate with me deeply." And she starts crying a little bit. But she seems a little bit ashamed of that, and she wipes the tear and says, "If I'm honest with myself, when my mother passed, it was devastating. And then I had to leave to travel the ethereal planes and look for her spirit to seek advice. So when I came back, all my siblings were gone. I had a sister, And she was gone by the time I got back, obviously thousands of years later, so I've been living this whole time thinking I didn't have any family, and it's nice to think that in a weird way I sort of still do. And she sort of, at that last note, straightens her back up again, regains her posture.
Well, I know I have a lot of my grandfather in me too, but I take it as a compliment.
She kind of chuckles and nods and says, yeah, that's probably the bit that I see that's different from my mother. I don't think there was any Stormwind in her.
So, are you in the middle of a mission now, or did you fulfill it on the island when we came and woke you?
You're asking Kamiko? She says, well, after you guys woke me and I heard about your mission to free the witches from this Orin person, obviously I wanted that to be my mission because it's what we were setting out to do when we went to Kamikami Island, really. It was to create a way for, eventually, help to come.
Okay.
So I think that seeing your mission through is a way to complete my mission, personally. But I think, can't remember, did you guys discuss whether she would stay behind in the spirit world, or was that after she returned?
That was after.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Then she says, but I must confess, I want to discuss this with the rest of the group. I've been thinking that perhaps it might be good to have someone stay behind and guard this entrance to the spirit world to protect Genbu from, falling back under their sway. So I think that might be my part in the rest of this mission.
That makes sense.
We'll see what they have to say. I confess I'm not entirely sure what Hunter will think of it, but I think that someone has to stay back and protect this place.
Okay.
And then after a little bit, did you have something more to say?
I was gonna see if I had anything else for the cool turtle. But I can't think of anything to ask him right now. I'm sure.
After then, sort of a quiet, awkward silence. The hunched turtle figure who's kind of leaning on his cane and was watching us back and forth between the two of you, kind of steps back in between the two of you and says, well, if you don't have anything else you want to ask me or talk to each other about, I've got a few things I could tell you if you're curious.
I'm all ears.
Well, I mean, don't take this the wrong way, man, but I just want to first make sure that you're okay with getting a little bit of bad news. I don't know what kind of things will, look, it could be a little painful.
I've got really strong shoulders. Hit me.
All right, man, if you're sure. 'Cause it's about your grandfather, you see. Anton, I think you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching all over the world, all these different places. And I admit, though I didn't really know to keep my eye on you at the time, I remember witnessing a ship sailing into the fog a little ways back, dude. And the whole crew was getting sick. But there was someone in the crew who wasn't getting sick. And I think that was the moment that I realized who you really were. Because only someone who had, the blessed lineage could go into the fog and come out without falling prey to its magic. So, that's sort of why that happened, in case you were wondering.
So I could have stayed with them to the end.
Well, yeah, maybe. But then you'd probably have fallen to the same fate they have. And it's not great, dude.
Okay.
You see, your grandfather, he's out there. Alive, in a sense, as it were. He's serving on board a ship. But It's more than a ship. It's really, it's a work of evil, man. It's called the Sea Devil's Curse. It's captained by a fiercer captain than any out there in the world that I've ever seen, anyways. Spectral fellow with a little bit of, with nothing but vengeance in his heart, man. When Anton and his crew were dying, this captain offered them, well, he offered them a way out. And I'm afraid that your grandfather's soul was and the souls of his crew were the price.
So this captain, have you said his name yet?
I don't know if I know his name, to be honest.
So he stole
Don't know if he knows.
my grandfather and all the
Well, he didn't steal him.
ships.
He offered them a way to live, and they took it. They just didn't realize what the price would be.
Okay. How would you describe the ship? Is it in the physical realm or is it in the spiritual?
Oh, it's a physical thing, all right.
What's it look like?
He kind of chuckles. Says, "Well, small by my standards, but for you it'd be massive. Biggest ship you've ever seen, I bet. Horrific-looking thing, almost ghost-like. It comes and it goes, and it can travel under the waves. It can rise and sink,
Okay.
come upon you unawares.
And do we know this captain's agenda?
Yeah, I know a little bit, man. From what I know, he's trying to restore some kind of lost kingdom, collecting gold coins and such. He thinks there's some power they hold which will let him do something or other, which will lead him to a lost kingdom, which will give him the power to rule the world. I mean, you know typical evil guy stuff, right?
Okay.
That's really all I know, man. I mean, the good news is now I'm free to swim around where I like, so I can try and figure out more for you if you want, but...
Well, I have one of these simple coins.
He kind of raises
how
a
does
turtly
he-
eyebrow.
How does he know where they are? Do they send off vibrations or?
Is it Pirates of the Caribbean?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Wasn't gonna say it. Does her life have to be in danger? Do you have to fall off a cliff into the water?
When one of the owners dies, all the other coins, they react. And he's got most of the coins at this point. So if you've got the last one, or one of the last ones, then
Yes.
you better just keep yourself alive.
It was my father's, so okay. Father's or grandfather's?
It was in your mother's box.
My mother's box. Oh, okay. That was my dad's box. No, the mother's box had the dad's journal. Okay, I'm here.
We're all caught up now.
Yeah, so unfortunately that's all I can tell you, but it must be nice to know in a sense that he's alive out there, even if there's... I'm not sure what you can do to save his soul, man.
Okay. Well, I feel better knowing that he can't really track me, so he's not really looking for me right now, and I'm not putting the crew in danger then. I mean, the group of us.
Well, that's true, but also, we're going to be on the other side of the Black Fog soon, and even his little ship can't get through that. So you'd be safe for a while, at least while you're in the reaches.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Alright, well then, if you don't have any questions about that, I guess I've just got two more things to say.
Okay.
Laura's like checking her watch.
Well, the first is,
She's watching real bodies of all the rest of us leave the chamber.
Yeah.
Come back.
She's like, okay.
I don't want to be sending you into the reaches without any help, man, you know? It's a dangerous place to be. So I've put out a little bit of communication now that I'm in a little bit more control of my faculties, and I've arranged for someone to meet you on the shore. You'll know where to meet him when you see Fortune smile. And the turtle kind of cracks a little smile when he says that, as if he knows more, but he's not gonna give you a better hint.
Alright.
And then the last thing he does is he hobbles over right next to you, and he says, "And there's just one last thing I can do for you. If you would mind presenting those daggers of yours for a brief moment."
Okay.
Pull them out. Okay. He kind of takes them in his hands and clasps them between his palms. And you can see there's a glow of black energy that sort of emits from his hands, which then transforms into cool water, which seeps into the daggers, magically just disappearing into the steel. And then when he's done, they emit a soft glow, and he puts them back in your hands, and then he touches your forehead, and there's another similar black glow which transforms into droplets of water which soak into you, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling as this water just seeps into your brain, and then suddenly the sensation is gone. And he says,
Dude. Just happened, man.
"You're telling me, man.
Japan.
Spirit powers are crazy weird, man." Well, for one thing, I've unlocked a power that was hidden within your daggers. It's always been there, but like, you know, it needed some spirit power to activate it or what have you. So you're going to be able to take some pretty serious control over the weather, and that's pretty awesome. So for game benefits, you can cast the spell Control Weather once per day.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yep. And then he says, "And as for the one I put in your brain, you'll find that when you get back into the real world, the physical world, you can still understand what this one says." And she points to Kamiko. And in fact, you'll be able to speak that language. It'll be weird since you didn't learn it, but
I tried.
you learned it spiritually, man. So you are now able to speak, read, and write Qin. Q-I-N.
Just for your reference, by the way, Control Weather is an 8th level spell.
Whoa. That is really, really cool.
And with that, he says, "All right, man.
Sailing the rest of my days.
Pretty much.
All right, man. I guess this is it for now. Next time I'll be seeing you is on the other side of the black fog as you're sailing out of my shell, I guess."
Okay, peace be with you, dude. Peace out.
"Peace be with you too, and safe sailing, man." And with that, he snaps his fingers again, and like sort of in the middle of the word "man," you're back in your body in the physical world.
Middle of the word man.
And the flashback stops, and you're standing on the deck of the Drowning Kiss, sailing it southward.
Gosh, that seems like a dream that really happened.
Under a beautiful sky, I would imagine.
I tell you, yeah.
I'm ready to see if there's a star. Is it like lightning shape?
Oh yeah. It is.
On your head? No.
A lightning shaped star.
There's no
We're
visible
just gonna encroach on
Put it
all
all
these.
through.
On all these.
Yeah, so Melissa, if you want to know what Control Weather can do, you can take control of the weather within 5 miles of you for 8 hours.
It would be.
You have to be outside to cast the spell.
Is it the main citation of the spell?
It's right here.
When you cast it, you can change the current weather conditions. You can change the precipitation, the temperature, and the wind. It takes 1d4 times 10 minutes for the new conditions to take effect, so it doesn't happen immediately.
Okay.
And once they change, then you can change them again if you want to.
But I'm probably not gonna have to.
And if the spell ends, you
And
gradually
it, as many times as I want, like
just once per day.
once per day. But I mean, you can change the wind's direction.
Yeah, and then you can go move up and down this table one stage at a time.
I see.
Or these tables, I guess, one stage at a time. So you can have a storm wind.
Wow.
It's the perfect spell for a
Yes.
sailor.
That is.
It does say
is.
it does say once the new conditions have taken effect, you can change them again while the spell's active, and it's active for 8 hours.
So
8 hours. So I could
Yeah.
put like a
You could just-
tailwind on us always, and you push
Yeah.
us, and you guys don't have to row anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Since we don't have a proper crew.
that's true.
Sweet!
Yeah, so now you guys can cruise with the boat if you want to,
Nice.
for 8 hours a day.
Can you take that conk in your hand?
Okay, so you're all on board the Drowning Kiss,
Okay.
and you can see the island of, well, one of the northern islands of the Elderhaven Reaches to your left as you're sort of sailing with the fog to your right along the coast southward. What would you guys like to do?
How long will it take before we can get to shore on one of these islands?
To the one that we want.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that we as a group have talked about our game plan, and you've drawn us a map.
Yeah.
Of the.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm guessing it's this.
And we've
And,
talked about it in our group chat, but our viewers don't know.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
the players of us have talked about it, which is why I'm recapping now as characters. I assume we've gotten together on the boat,
Mm-hmm.
talked about our game plan,
And we're gonna go look for Yako first.
and you know where
Yeah.
all the temples are, right?
Yeah.
So the first one, you're going to have to sail sort of around one of these northern islands, whichever one it is you're by. And Hunter, if you want to make a survival check, you can
Sure.
sort of identify which one you're near.
I don't remember if I get advantage on this or not.
We'll say sure, since this is your home territory.
Oh, nice.
It's your favorite terrain.
It's 15.
15? Based on the geography, the fact that you're not from where you are able to see mountains, you think you're probably to the north of Kanya, because that terrain is mostly snowy fields, and that's pretty much all you can see.
Okay.
So you're probably going to need to sail south around the southern tip of Kanya, and then down the other side of Hazuki, because the forest where the temple of Yako that was mentioned to you is sits between that delta of rivers on the southern end of Hazuki.
Oh, so it's like
Yeah,
right
I think
here.
it's in there, yeah.
Okay. And that's where we're going first.
Yep.
So
Yep. We're
Kind
just
of-
gonna head as we head south. We're gonna hit the temples.
yeah, so I'm getting like with the map in hand, I'm kind of like pointing and like sharing this information. And also, I think I'm trying to take special note of any differences I notice.
Okay, roll a perception check.
Sure. That is a 23.
23.
I don't have as
Um,
much white space anymore.
As you start to sail along the edge of Kanya and sort of make your way south towards that place where you can cut north and then south again, most things look pretty similar to what you've seen before. The one difference you notice is typically you pass by a lot of fishing villages and you see a lot fewer boats out on the water. You keep your distance from them unless you want to go closer, but there's definitely a lot fewer fishing boats on the water as sort of a continuous trend as you go along the coast.
Okay.
Than you would have seen normally.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So my question was, how long is it gonna take us to get to
Right.
that area?
Well, it depends if Mara tries out a new spell or not.
Let's go!
Alright, so what do you want to do? Just basically make a tailwind.
In the direction that we want to go.
So you probably want to push it. It's calm right now, and you probably want to push it up to a strong wind.
Okay, not a storm.
You could probably go as high as gale before your sails are going to be in trouble. But if you go all the way to storm, even if you can control it, it's going to be difficult for your sail to bear the strength of the wind, probably. So you slowly, with your control over the weather, manipulate the wind and push the strongest wind you guys have ever felt behind the Drowning Kiss.
D4 and I don't understand what the D4 has to do.
What are you talking about?
Oh, for this bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to roll it every time or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the first for it to jump from calm to moderate wind, it takes 10 minutes, and then for it to jump from moderate to strong, it takes 20, and then the jump from strong. Did you want to go to gale, or did you want to stay at strong?
Let's just stay strong. I think that's good enough.
Then yeah, it takes about 30 minutes to get up to speed.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But after that, it will maintain. So then, to answer your question, with a strong wind at your back, okay, I would say it will probably take you no more than 24 hours to get there.
If that's the case, maybe get a chance to rest, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I want to work on my arcane shit.
So you guys want to sort of take a rest?
Oh, maybe not.
It's a lot easier to rest now that Mara can just kind of steer and let the wind do the rowing for you. You guys don't have to drop the oars and things like that.
Huh.
Mara
nice.
can now move this boat on her own.
I like your new powers. They're very convenient.
Thank you very much. That means a lot coming from you. You're usually got the most wind of us all.
So
Kind
that
of
gives
a
us
toss-up
like
now.
a third of the way. She gets to go to automatic, but then the other 2/3 were in manual, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what that means is you guys can sort of take a rest, and then she can take a rest. So while you guys are resting, Kay, you said you had something you want Harmony to work on?
I want to work on my arcane shit, but I have so Tides of Chaos is primed, so I was thinking about some way to use a spell so I could expend that and prank someone, and then go work on my arcane shit.
Oh, I see. Alright, what's the plan?
We're playing
know.
really
I don't-
sneaky.
I don't have anything really that exciting except that I probably walk up to Thaddeus. I'm like, Thaddy,
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and I suggest you answer me honestly.
Is that a suggestion spell?
Yes, I'm gonna cast suggestion.
Okay. What's this wisdom save?
I haven't used suggestion in so long. Where does it say? Yes, wisdom.
Well, I failed. Within 18.
Wow, that's a lot.
DC 19.
Yeah. Not in the spirit world.
How do you really feel about the fact that Dawn and your brother are engaged?
I have to find some way to stop it.
Okay.
Why? Do you have any ideas?
Oh, I could think of a few things. I'm really good at stopping
The
things.
queen of chaos.
It's for the good of the country, you know.
Yes,
He
of
can't
course.
he can't be allowed to be king.
I don't like him much either, you know. Plus,
Now,
I
what
think
is-
you guys make a much cuter couple.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, I just want to know what's happening with Wild Magic.
Yep, I'm rolling it right now. Is it 69?
Or 41.
Nice.
Nice. 41. Oh no.
It's 41.
Oh,
It's 41.
It's 41. You have no choice. I normally get to choose, but not today.
Nope. Yep. Alright.
it's happening!
Finally!
Guys, we want an odd
Is
number.
this the day that I do you roll it or do I roll it?
Oh
You
my
roll it.
god!
You
It's
should roll.
a D10.
It's a D10.
Yep. And we want an odd number, guys. Yes. Odd.
This is the day that Harvey becomes a small creature.
Oh no.
Yes!
Yes!
So Harmony, as she casts this spell and begins her conversation with Thaddeus, you can't help but answer, but you also witness her slowly shrinking 7 inches.
Harmony!
7.
Wow.
7 inches.
Oh man.
Wait, where's my height?
Yes!
Now the turntables have cabled. It happened.
So I am now
The
12
prankster
minus
is now the
4, 3
prank.
foot 8.
Yes!
3 feet 8 inches.
And
Oh
so
my
the
God.
tiefling wild magic
3
sorcerer
foot 8?
became a small character.
I am now a small creature.
That's so small.
Yep.
Which means I can't dimension door any of y'all anymore.
That's true.
Harmony, I know you don't like it when I look down on you, but I don't think I have any choice anymore.
I mean, you've been looking down on me since we first met, though. I don't see what makes it different now.
Oh my gosh.
I think Thaddeus sits on the floor cross-legged.
At eye level.
Is your midriff 3 feet tall now? Oh my gosh.
Me 3 feet is like this.
3 feet 8 inches.
No,
so
he'll do like.
I'm like
saves
almost
his
4
style.
feet tall. I'm like 4 inches shy of.
Yeah, he gets down and like kneels.
It's like, what are you doing? Stop, that's weird.
I just thought it might be easier for you.
I mean,
Harmony, you've always been cute, but now you're adorable.
like turning into a chibi character.
Your head stays the same size.
My eyes grow
Oh my gosh. It's all going in your head, Harmony. Don't worry about it.
You guys are weird. I don't notice any difference.
Yeah, okay, sure. Oh.
Anyway, I'd like to go work on my enchanting now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you guys are
Oh,
acting
gosh.
really weird. I'm gonna leave.
I was gonna say your walking speed would have to be reduced to 25, but goblins are small and they have a speed of 30, so I'll let you keep your walking speed.
Thank you.
It's like a running speed for her.
My walking speed is 30.
All right, what are you trying to do with your enchantments?
So I have 2 successes on my Scarf of Invisibility that I'm trying to enchant.
Oh, I see what you're trying to do.
And I have 0
Yeah.
on my Ballet Slippers.
So which one do you want to work on?
Can I only choose one?
For this long rest, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do the Scarf.
Okay.
Which
So roll
is-
your Arcana with Charisma.
Yes.
Odd.
Ooh. It's even, thank you very much.
Oh, dang.
Arcana with Wisdom, or with Charisma, so plus 10, 28.
28. Okay, yeah. I would say that that is a success, and that will create you your invisibility scarf. As the magic takes into it, it shimmers a little bit and fades transparent, and then returns, and then fades again, and then finally returns to a solid color. And you feel that the magic has taken, and there will probably be some ability to turn invisible through the scarf.
Nice. Alright.
Oh.
Then I'm gonna
Very
take it to Mara and be like, hey Mara! Try this on. And put it on her.
She needs to bend down now.
It's a really lovely scarf.
Does it need to be attuned?
I'm gonna need to work out how the item works. I haven't thought that
So
far.
I was gonna have her try it right now, but if she has to attune to it.
I mean, as you put it on her, you see that it sort of shimmers itself in and out of visibility, but probably it will require attunement.
Does anybody have attunement slots open?
Bianca does.
Bianco with a scarf. Yes, please.
Bianco is sneaky enough though.
Thaddeus doesn't, but I have been interested in swapping out for his boots for some time now. If you wanted to give it to Thaddeus.
For
For his boots.
swapping your jumping boots out for something else?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to
Dash the scarf.
show it to Mara. Like, isn't this cool?
It really is nice.
Well, you're really sneaky though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Kind of. You have that cloak that makes you like.
And I have boots.
Yeah, her slippers already give her advantage on
Oh,
stealth,
right,
so
right, that's what it
invisibility
was.
wouldn't do too much mechanically for her.
I take it to Hunter. Look what I made, Hunter!
I'm like looking down. I have to like sit.
I up to her waist
I think
now.
that actually, I think Hunter. I wanted him to be working on the
How
claw
tall is
enhancements
Hunter?
for Biako. So I figured I was already
Not
sitting.
small. Not
And so,
fucking
so
little.
Harmony like comes in like this, and I'm just seeing her like here, and I'm like, Harmony,
Look what I made!
and I'm like too like, are you? Oh no. I mean, that's great. What is it?
Well, I
Is it gonna
think
make me smile again?
no.
Okay.
It's supposed to make you invisible,
Okay.
but it's kind of a powerful
I'd, like,
enchantment
kind of
this
put it
time.
on.
So, like, I think you might need to spend some time with it if you use it. Which
I'm like doing
means,
this. Like,
which means
It's
if
a
you have
good
other
idea.
things that you've spent time with, you might have to swap it out. or
Oh, I
something.
see. Like Bianco's, I'm like, how about Bianco? Put her on Bianco. Be like,
His
He
kids were
purrs.
always
Yeah,
having
I
his
pet him.
hands
taking place.
Does he
That's
disappear
good.
too?
For Hunter.
No, but like as the scarf settles on him, it shimmers in and out of visibility.
Okay, and be like, oh yeah, looks pretty good on this guy.
I wasn't giving it to Yako.
Oh.
I can make
He
you
looks
something
extremely
else
dapper.
though.
Can you say no
Well,
to space?
I was thinking. Well, I did make you that hat of disguise.
Oh yeah.
So take this.
That's really cool.
Thanks. I'll go over to Thaddeus. I'll be like, so I appreciate you being honest with me earlier,
Yeah, of course.
even though you didn't really have a choice. I know you know that I cast a spell on you.
I mean, that's nothing new. You casting random spells is pretty much how I know that you're. The only reason I know you walk up to me.
This is true. Anyway, I made something, and I think maybe you should have it. And I run away.
Is it?
Like he's supposed to dress in this
Are
thing,
we-
and you just drop off.
Shimmers in and out of
I
visibility.
go after the crown with smiles.
Harmony, what color is the scarf? I remember it has like gold
Remember, it had like
filling on
metallic
it or something.
Yeah.
like thread in it, which is what made it good. But I don't know if we ever talked
Color
about
do you wanna
what
say it
color it
is?
was.
Purple.
Pink, purple.
Like a
Royal
dark
purple.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah, that's what I'm
good.
thinking. I like that.
All right, it's royal purple.
Are we going to somewhere cold? That is ask nobody.
It is rather cold, but you don't feel it.
Yeah, that's true. I'm.
It's not to keep you warm.
A small person's voice comes in.
Spend some time
And the
with
dash.
it. So you have a scarf of invisibility from me.
And I'll work out how exactly it works
Okay.
over the week.
Okay.
So then, our camera, metaphorically, speaking, pans back over to Hunter, who
So-
just sort of is like, but then goes back to what he was working on.
Yeah,
which
so I would
was-
speak with animals, and then
Okay.
kind of talking with Yako a little bit, and then kind of working out some of the details for him. And then, yeah, I would like to do that.
You were working on
Claw enhancements?
Right, claw
Yeah.
enhancements. Okay, so roll a intelligence tinkerer's tools
Okay.
check. Do you remember where you were at for this one?
So bad. What?
Do you remember where you were at for this one?
One failure, and it looks like another one because I rolled a 1.
Yep.
Gosh, that's the second time I think.
Yako's not being helpful either because he's
Yeah.
feeling playful.
Oh, okay.
And so he's like rolling onto his back and like batting at the
Like-
sky.
And I'm like, Yako, come on. So
And he's just like,
Where
it
does-
feels so good to be back in my home territory.
I know, but we really have to
Air.
focus here.
Just smell the air.
Oh,
You can
Yako.
practically taste the fish in the water.
I just pack my things up. I'm like,
That's the air. Twitches his tail.
get us something you can play with here. That's fine. We'll do it another day.
Probably should have brewed some
Alright. So the three of you get a long rest, and then the time comes after Mara has sailed the ship for a good 8 hours with an excellent tailwind, where Mara needs some rest, and the three of you are sort of on deck manning the ship. So I would like the group of you to make perception checks.
Individually?
What kind of perception?
Ooh, wisdom perception.
Is it like hearing or is it
Sight.
smelling?
Even like wisdom. Unnatural. 20.
Oh.
Unnatural.
Oh, okay.
I got a.
I recently heard a great way to describe unnatural 20s, and I'm not going to say it any other way ever again, and it's a dirty 20.
A dirty 20.
Awesome.
I got a dirty 20.
23.
Alright, and
9.
9. Yeah, Thaddeus, after your shift rowing, you're a little bit tired, and the muscles are sore, and you're not feeling very observant, but the two of you, Hunter and Harmony, both spot towards the end of your 8-hour shift where Mara's about to wake up, something on the shore that isn't a fishing village. It's a structure that's, it looks like a large wall that encloses some structure. And I think you guys have a spyglass that you could pull out and look through it. And so when you do, you see that it is in fact a stone wall enclosing a structure in the middle. And you can see trees and greenery sort of poking up above the stone wall. So there's some natural setting enclosed in there. And then what you see in Keen, Harmony, you can't read it. So all that Harmony sees on the sign is a painting of a fox's face, actually 2 foxes' faces, one on each side of the Keen lettering. And Hunter, you can read the language which says, Lucky Fox Hot Springs.
Oh, okay. Huh. And so Harmony and I are looking at it, and I'm like, oh, look at that. That's kind of cool.
What does it say?
It says Lucky Fox Hot Springs.
Hot Springs?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been there before.
Should
What's
we?
that?
I figured you'd flip out about that.
We've
What's-
certainly been to hot springs.
Not that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Hot springs are a tradition of your people.
Yeah, not
For
that one.
relaxation and recuperation.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Then I would say that. It's a tradition of our people.
Is it worth the pit stop, or do we have time to stop?
I mean,
Mara will be ready to use her daggers again soon.
yeah.
She's had a rest. So
I mean, I think we could probably take a little dip.
We're gonna have a
Since we're in
bath
the area.
episode, you guys.
Gosh, I hope so.
my title,
Why don't we-
which I said
how
I
about-
didn't want you to look at, was going to be obligatory hot springs.
Why don't we swing by, and then we can all talk about it and see if you want to try it.
I'm down. I think we could use a little bit of a break after the crap that we've been through.
Yeah, because we're
lately.
gonna jump head deep into
Right.
something else
Mhm.
afterwards. So maybe we need a.
It would be nice to do something like this before everyone knows we're here.
Yeah.
Agree.
And also, the longer you watch this place, as you're sort of talking back and forth about the potential of visiting it, the more you realize that you don't see people going in or out, so it probably is abandoned.
Oh, okay. Well,
Even more reason to stop in.
let's swing by. Let's see what kind of shape it's in. So,
So Mara, you wake up and they're having this discussion.
yeah. Mara, are you okay taking a pit stop?
To where?
And I'll point over there where the
And I
hot
can
springs
read
are.
King, so I see it. It's like,
yeah,
oh.
and I'll pass you the spyglass and say, you want to go there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a weird feeling because this is the first time you're seeing it written. You've never learned this language, like you never studied it, but you see these lines arrayed on the board and you know what they mean.
Yeah,
It's
and I'm
weird.
like, yeah, it's a hot springs.
That actually sounds, after what we've all been through, really, really nice. What do you
Yeah.
think? Should we check it out?
So let's go drop anchor.
Hmm?
Let's go drop anchor.
Yeah, let's do it.
And there's a nice little bay that you can kind of drop anchor in, still staying a little ways away from the shore.
Is
but-
this part of the island?
Yeah, you think you are probably still along the southern edge of Kanya. Just about to go, you're sort of sailing that channel between Kanya and Hazuki.
Mm.
So this hot spring is probably sitting right next to that river, the delta which branches down from that lake.
Okay, up here.
So is the fox smiling?
Yeah, the foxes on the sign are both smiling, and there's also statues of foxes on either side of the archway that goes into the structure, and they both seem to be smiling as well, and they're wearing red bandanas.
I like foxes.
Well, what's the girl's name again?
Yeah,
Again,
Genbu. Dude, Genbu told me that he's gonna send us help. And we have to look for Fortune Smile.
Oh,
Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
roll a
Fortune
history check at
smile.
advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
well, it's called Lucky Fox, and they're smiling.
Yeah.
Well,
they're smiling.
15 out of 15.
I don't know. How about I got a 17 and a 17.
Well, Harmony just put it together. But also, you know that foxes are a traditional sign of luck and prosperity amongst the people of the Elder Hidden Reaches.
Sure sounds like that's our clue then.
Marta, have you always been that tall?
In stature, oh.
I feel
Rolls
like
my
something weird
eyes.
happened since we left that spirit realm. You
Did
guys all seem real tall.
Did you not feel it happen? I saw it.
You got shorter, dude.
Who said that?
You came up to me to pester me with some sort of magic, which I assume you cast, because after it, one of your effects happened and you got smaller.
Again?
Yep. Looking down. Yep, seems that way.
Dang
I'm
it.
gonna have to like make like the Kronk and Eva thing for you because you're so tiny and fragile now.
Like a little carry.
I'll like carry you around.
No, is that
Is
my
that
height?
my voice?
Is that my height?
Is that my voice?
Yeah.
Is that my height?
Oh well.
Oh,
It's almost a little too good. It's uncanny.
It had to happen. It had
it's
to.
great. So good.
Yeah, this is kind of a problem. How am I supposed to lead a tribe when I look like
I
I'm
was literally
5
thinking
years
the same
old?
thing. I was thinking about Harmony going back to her tribe. I said, "Everybody, attend to your chieftain."
Does your voice get shortened
That
too?
seems like the kind of worry that you should talk about while you're all soaking in.
Maybe we should head in first.
Yeah, let's do that.
You drop anchor in the bay.
I crawl up on your shoulders.
Oh, and that's just like a normal
So I
position.
feel tall.
Yeah.
And as you get up before the wall,
like
the
install a
stone wall
ladder.
of this place, and are standing sort of under the arch that the sign is situated on, you see that in smaller letters, which you couldn't see with the spyglass from afar, under Lucky Fox Hot Spring, it says, sort of like tagline in quotes, "A good place to relax in the water and reflect with friends before a long journey."
Almost like it was created just for this purpose.
And also, now that you're close, you can see that the walls are a little bit run down and worn, further lending to the idea that this place might be abandoned. And as you sort of push your way through the archway and into the courtyard, you can see that it's there are trees that are growing here, and they're all covered in snow. The ground is also covered in snow. And there's a building in the center, in the sort of traditional Elderhaven Reaches style, with the sliding paper doors and things like that, that has a pathway leading up to it. And presumably, the way through to the bath area would be through there.
Can I track spirits?
Yeah.
In this vicinity?
You look so
I got a natural 20, which is like a 27.
See his face.
So what do you do when you're trying to track spirits? Precisely.
So, well, I mean, first of all, I have to follow this Harmony. I'm like, Harmony, we're gonna take a little detour, and I have to like walk around a little bit, and then I think I would like feel the ground and like see if there's like any disturbances, like because I think that we would be able to detect like small changes between like the physical realm and the spirit realm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be looking for like little patterns like that, or like discolorations or something, or depending on the spirits that would exist in the biome, I guess, or the area. But
Yeah, you begin looking for those sort of patterns and inspecting the area, and you find this courtyard is full of like abundant nature and things like that. You can already see steam rising up from the hot springs, which is behind a wall, like a bamboo wall. And as you go around, you don't find any like physical tracks or anything like that.
sure, yeah.
But this place, though it looks run down on the exterior, there's something natural and pure, and there's an energy to the place that you pick up on, which hints at definitely the presence of, well, there's a spiritual imprint here.
Okay.
we'll say.
And so I'll just tell, since Harmony is with me, I'll say there's some spirits around here. I don't know what kind yet, but we're going to be getting close to them.
Should we be on our guard?
Potentially, but I don't know what kind of spirits they are.
Are most spirits bad? I don't really know much about spirits.
It's
They-
a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's mixed. Like
Some
you,
are pure evil, some are pure good, some are just in it to trick some mortals and get
Yeah.
a laugh.
it's kind of like just the creatures on,
So, like people then.
yeah, like any other type of thing.
Except people with a wide variety of magical abilities.
So just be ready, but
All right.
don't know what it is yet.
I'm always ready. Crack me.
It could be that help that his tubularness was talking about.
Yeah, do you get kind of laid back vibe anybody around here? Like you just want to sit and chill?
It's more of a it's like a tranquil vibe.
Okay.
Are
Anyways,
you okay?
someone spent a little bit too much time with his dudeness.
With his dudeness.
His royal dude.
Yeah. Oh boy. Alright, well, let's head to the actual place.
You step up the wooden steps out of the snow and onto the front doorstep and sort of slide aside the paper door, revealing an interior that probably could be warm if the fireplace in the corner were lit.
I light
but
it.
Oh, you just light it. Yeah, there's wood there actually, so it just lights up. And instantly
Thank you, presentation.
the room is just filled with warmth and light. And you can see that there's a small waiting area with cushions set on the like straw floors of this room. And there's also a sort of like a reception desk area with a book open on it. And standing right next to the book on the counter is a bird, a sparrow to be precise. And it just kind of looks up at you and chirp.
I will cast Speak with Animals.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Is it? Yeah, and I'll
You walk up to it and it kind of backs up to the back edge of the counter, eyeing you warily.
say, hello, in bird.
You guys hear Hunter chirp, and you hear this bird chirp back. But Hunter, what you hear is, "Oh, we have a guest! Someone who speaks the language of the bird."
Is this the chef from whatever it's called? The Little Mermaid.
And it like turns to, there's a curtain, right, that's behind it, that's sort of separating a back room from the counter. And it lets out a series of chirps which sound angry to the group of you, but Hunter, what you hear is, "My brothers and sisters, we have guests!" You just hear mad chirping from behind the curtain. "We must prepare!
Yeah.
You and your friends must sign the guest list!"
And then I will accept the guest list and.
This is a good day.
I'm surprised.
Why is this place so weird? And yeah, I will grab the guest list as I'm having this nice conversation with the bird. And
Sounds like he's.
and then like right before I'm signing, just like following suit, I'm like, I'll like turn back to the group and be like, "Oh, that's just this is the owner and Francois, and the other chirping noises were his brothers and sisters.
Right.
And this is the guest book.
Mara,
That's time for
the
us.
parrot, which has taken to landing on your shoulders, is just kind of cocking its head and looking like this at the birds with its sideways eye.
Have they infested the cabin?
These?
Yeah. Is it just inhabited by birds now?
So, is this bird actually the owner? Can I discern that?
I mean, roll an
Insight?
insight check? Yeah.
Okay. I'll say, with my insight, I'll say, how long have you been running this hot springs with a 20?
Okay, the bird says,
That's what he's doing.
"Oh, you are curious about our history, I see. Well, we have been running this establishment for several years." And he says, "I inherited it from my father, who inherited it from his father." But with your insight check, you can tell that he's full of it. They just moved in.
Yeah, and is he a spirit or is he actually a bird?
He's actually a bird.
Okay, and
You know that because your spell worked.
I'll be like, really? Well, typically these family-owned places have, pictures and things of the owners. Where's yours?
He kind of looks around, and he says, "Well, that's an excellent idea. I had not thought of such a thing."
Mm-hmm.
And he chirps back to the back room. He says, "My brothers, my sisters, we must get on making some pictures."
And are there actually pictures and stuff of like the family, like the owners?
No, I mean, the decorations on the wall are like paintings of nature and things like that. Most of them winter landscapes.
Okay. And then I'll just like turn to Thaddeus and be like, he's full of it, but we can at least visit the hot springs anyways.
All you need to do is sign your names and give a gift of seed. and then we will let you through.
Is it weird that the hunter is talking to a bird, or that the bird is lying to him?
You know, I think the whole situation is weird.
And I'll just like shrug and be like, all right, and I'll just sign for us.
Yeah, this guest book, you flip back a couple pages and it's empty. There's no names in it. Like, the first page is blank. The second page is blank. They're all blank.
Okay. So I'll just sign like drowning kiss or something, and then just.
The bird looks at it and then looks back at you and just nods and says, "Ah, yes, this will do."
He's taking inspiration.
I hope so.
You know, that's also weird.
And
It's like, Hunter, are you feeling alright?
it's fine.
It's abandoned. Do you really think we need to sign our names?
I don't have seeds.
Do we need seeds? You can make good berries.
I could. I'll do that.
Oh,
Good berries. So
this is a fine offering indeed.
and then I will hand. How many other other owners are there here? How many
We
brothers
are
and
many,
sisters?
but this will feed us for days.
Okay, and I will hand them.
And he
good
kind of like
berries.
picks he picks the berry up in his beak and like tosses it back behind the kitchen or behind the curtain one at a time, and they just go sailing through, and you hear it's like met with chirps, which basically you hear as "Oh goody, hooray, berries!"
I thought they had an accent.
He apparently does. But
Oh, okay. I see.
Alright, well, now that you made your new friends,
And I'll just be like. See you.
I'll pat you on the head.
All right.
Where's this way, Monsieur? He looks at the ledger. Drowning kiss.
Yeah.
He takes off from the desk and
So
flaps
I
down
only
the
have
hallway.
rain. All right. And so let's go, I guess.
As you walk down the hallway, you pass several empty rooms with folded up bedspreads that you could probably put on the ground and sleep.
Is there anything
Want to?
shiny in here?
Roll a perception check.
7.
I figured like since you're still here, we just pass by before you
Yeah,
can like.
before I can take a look. Yeah.
Not that you can see
Yeah.
in your brief look, and all thought of shinies is put out of your head when you emerge out into the outdoor courtyard, which is enclosed by this bamboo wall that has been put up around a steaming hot pool, maybe 30 feet across or so, and maybe 5 feet deep at the very deepest, which is empty except for on the far side of the pool, sort of sitting under a snowy tree, but in the pool are 4 or 5 monkeys with white fur and red faces,
Mm-hmm.
and they just seem to be enjoying themselves.
Are they the spirits that I detected?
These, with your check that you rolled earlier, seem to be natural. Well, roll a perception check, we'll say.
Okay. I rolled a natural 1.
Yeah,
That's
as
the
far as
second
you can
one.
tell, these are natural checks.
Darn. Okay. Sure.
They didn't sign the guest book.
So are we okay
Ooh.
going in with these, or do we want to chase them off?
The monkeys?
They're just monkeys.
We can take them.
They're also on
Okay.
one far end of like a 30-foot pool.
Yeah.
We're okay going in.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Are you worried that they'll bother us?
Or is it a hygiene thing?
A little of both. The water's steaming, I'm not so worried.
Because I
about
can prestidigitation.
The pirate's worried about Adrian.
I have my standards.
Yeah, okay.
Where does the heat come from?
Oh, it comes from the springs in the mountain, the geysers and stuff.
Amazing.
Well, if it makes you feel better, obviously I can't really partake. I'll be with you, but
Cool.
You
I'll
can't
take care
get
of
in
it.
the water?
I can sit in the water.
You can
but
still feel heat.
Yeah, I can. I'll put my feet
It'll
in.
still feel good to you.
Well, let's just stay at this end.
Thaddeus starts taking off his armor.
I don't really feel like monkeying around right now.
I'll ask you a hand.
Yeah, that'd be most gracious of you. Thank
Okay, then I'll help him.
Have you figured out that scarf, by the way?
you. What's to figure out? It goes around my neck. It looks quite nice.
Didn't you spend time with it? Didn't you feel something? Didn't you think to cast detect magic
It's coming from here.
No.
Yeah, it came from Harmony. Hello.
I thought it just was a nice scarf.
You did try on the tiara, right, that I made.
Yes.
And you remember what that did.
That's why I wasn't eager to find out what this does.
Well, this one, I've been practicing a lot since then. This one actually does what I want it to do.
And what's that?
You gotta spend time with it to figure it out.
Alright, I will do that later.
In groups of 4, sparrows come flying out the way that you guys came into this area, holding towels between the 4 of them, and they drape 5 towels, 1 for each of you plus Byakko, over the bough of a tree.
That's nice.
Good
We're
job,
Disney
Hunter.
princesses now.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then they fly away again.
Did we need some Jasper before we did? Get the service.
That was the good berries. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
Once
Okay.
that his armor is off, he's going to settle into the water.
Alright, it
I'll hop
feels great. The warmth seeps into your skin, and you can feel your tiredness just leave your body.
I do a cannonball.
This is a,
Roll a performance check.
And like as I realize that I'm a diving board, I'm like, no, Harmony, that's not how
I
you
know,
do it. And then she
I
like,
jumped
jumps
down
off.
first to take my
Oh,
stuff
okay.
off, and then I like go running and I cannonball.
how big of a cannonball could you really make that?
Like a pebble. Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yep, with
So
your
it's
small,
a 6. It's a 6.
with your smaller size, like your splash is just
It's like,
really
like a rock
tiny.
going in. Like I guess I wasn't so
like a
bad.
pebble.
Right, she goes running in and whoops.
So you come up and the cannonball felt great, but the splash was really small.
I use control water to make a splash. Not control water, but whatever it is.
The monkeys look over at you and shout something, which Hunter, you can understand
Yeah.
to be,
Shape water.
"Hey, what are you guys doing?"
Sorry, it's their first time.
They
As
go
I
to
say,
chat
monkey.
amongst themselves. Did Harmony just go in like fully clothed?
No, I took my clothes off first.
And then I'm
I
gonna.
like, was like doing this.
Oh yeah, right.
I'm like collecting it. I'm like setting it somewhere where you.
This was a good idea.
Yeah. So what was the clue that
I'm
you
like
got?
sitting in it with the water up to here.
Yeah. What was the clue that you got?
Just said to look for a fortune smile.
Okay.
So where does the lucky fox come in? This is supposed to be the lucky fox, but we've seen birds and monkeys and no foxes.
What's the shape of the pool like? Is it an oval or a circle or something?
From ground level, it's kind of hard to tell. You want to like climb up on one of the trees, take a look,
Well, I'm not
cast
naked.
fly, and
I'm sorry. Weren't you the one that earlier that was like, I'm always tall in stature? Like very proud.
Mm-hmm.
oh, so did Mari get into it? I was sort of
Yes,
like,
yes.
okay, so everyone's in but Hunter.
Yes.
I'm like picking up after Harmony's pieces and talking to the monkeys right now. Damage control, but I'll get in shortly. I mean, I can kind of do a little lap around and kind of get the general shape of it, I guess,
Yeah.
since I'm not in the water yet.
I mean, it's vaguely circular with some irregular edges.
That's not fox shape.
Okay.
Come on, Hunter.
Yep, and then I'll step in, I guess.
I mean, it does feel good.
That's
Like,
good.
It seeps into your joints, and you can feel the places where the wood meets the metal that sometimes get stiff in the cold, but just
Yeah.
immediately loosen.
What does it smell like?
It has sort of, I mean, maybe like a slight tinge of that sulfur smell, but mostly it's that kind of like hot, watery smell that you would expect from a hot spring.
Harmony, got any special fizzies you could put in to make it smell better? I mean, we got these two
Bath
guys
bombs.
in with us and the monkeys.
I do have an alchemy kit. I could try to whip something up.
Do it! And I have that glowy sea plant that we found.
I'm like, no messing with the hot springs.
I don't want to.
Like oil
I don't want to kill it.
flowers.
No, I
You
don't.
don't have anything like that?
I don't know what would be in my alchemy kit. But I don't know.
Probably not enough to change the smell of this entire
Yeah.
pool.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have some sage. But
That's fine.
gonna try and relax. Yeah, God, it's been a while since I've been able to enjoy this.
It's almost like a real hot bath in the fine mansion.
Should get one.
I think I will.
So are
It's okay.
there any more rooms around the perimeter?
There's really only the one door that you guys all came out.
Could make a wonderful facsimile.
You did see like sleeping chambers or things like that when you were walking down the hallway this direction, but they all seemed empty.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
Any kind of clues for
Oh, for that?
sleep?
I think if we just wait here and relax long enough,
We could do
this
something.
fortune smile person will come to us.
Fortune might smile on us. It's just all by itself. Maybe
find
this
out.
is our fortune smiling. It does feel lovely.
So what do you guys talk about while you spend time relaxing in the hot springs? The sign outside said that it was a great place to reflect.
So, when we get done with this place, we launch into Operation Free Dawn from her engagement to the asshole.
Oh,
The
I
name's
see.
still a work in progress.
It's a little bit long, but I agree with this.
FDFA, huh? Or FDFDA?
That's on the agenda.
Oh, is it?
After
Okay.
fucking up Orochi
Well,
and saving the Elderhaven roaches.
the agenda is the law that we follow, so.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's only 3 items left on it.
You know, you could use the Ruby of Sending and send Dawn a message. I think it would be
I meant to ask you.
a
first.
good
Do you have
idea.
it?
Of course I have it. I always have it.
All right, that is like pulls the towel around and like goes to fish around for it.
It's in my bag, just with my clothes.
Which are over there.
I
When I put them over there.
And he's gonna take this opportunity to fish around for any other embarrassing stuff that Harmony has in her
Alright.
bag.
Oh,
Roll an
there it is.
investigation check.
It's
Who
turned
said the
out it's
DC?
fair play.
don't have anything embarrassing.
You said the DC for him then, okay.
I said
I
the
don't know what's in
DC?
your bag. Yeah.
Oh. Hmm.
I'm not gonna find anything. I only got a 6 on that one. I'd be surprised if I found a gem.
It's pretty big though, right?
Yeah.
You can probably find the door handle from the room that was next to the gate to the Shadowfell,
I think I'll pick it up and
and the instant fortress,
Oh, that, yeah.
and the mummified crow's foot in there. I have a bunch of just random shit in my
Yeah,
It's the sort of thing that happens when you play for one episode.
yeah. I think Maddie's goes trying to find some like incriminating, embarrassing thing. It
Find
just
a
gets like
mummified
really
crow's foot.
confused about like what is all this.
Do you ask me what they are?
No, he just goes for the ruby.
What's going on?
I can't remember. What was the last thing that you guys remember hearing from Dawn?
She was getting taken to the capital with Quor,
And
Not to
Amanda
worry.
said that he was going to
and the
help her
orphan.
friends.
Did we manage to contact Bree?
No, we never tried.
I
No.
don't remember. But Mandus was gonna.
Yeah, Manus was going to do that, and then the orphan Alan was going to go and try and get more information or something. And
You should use the
The
daggers
last-
to talk to Mandus.
The last thing I got was Thaddeus, it's Dawn, stole a loose copper wire. I'm okay, going to contact my friends, they'll bust me out. And I said, understood, we're headed to the Elderhaven reaches, stay safe. Forward, Gavin, I'll see you again. So that was
Did
the
you say
last.
avoid Gavin?
Yes.
But you knew that Mandus was going to try and help
Yeah.
her. So, okay.
So I think the message this time is just Dawn. We've made landfall at the reaches. We're all still alive and safe. Everything is going more or less according to plan.
Swimmingly.
No, I'm. Because you have to say the message out loud, right? When you send it, or not?
I don't know.
Is it mental?
I don't know if you
forget. It's the sending spell, whatever that is.
Yeah. I'm not.
I'm guessing it would be like,
I know for
Telepathic,
the message cantrip, you have to whisper it.
Yeah.
oh, you do you? Oh, okay, maybe
for
you just whisper
the
it.
message cantrip. I don't know about.
Because I
sending.
was thinking that they might be the same in the way that you use it.
Send a short message. No, it doesn't say.
But
you
it
have to
says
say
it's a verbal component.
Yeah, if it's verbal, then I would assume you'd have to say
Yeah, I
that.
think probably so.
You're thinking some random thoughts of his might send.
No. I was like, if I hear that message, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. Cause like, what the hell was that? That wasn't a romantic message. How was she supposed to know that you're interested in her when you're
And
just
then when
telling
she's
us
doing that, I just like dunk her head in the water.
I use shape water, and I make your entire head engulfed in a bubble of water.
And I'll be like, I can breathe underwater already.
I don't care.
Like I don't breathe.
Yeah, I'll just like shrug, and then I'll just like go underwater, so it doesn't even matter. And then I'll just like push you underwater too again.
And that's came from Hunter, right?
Right?
Very robotic.
That's so boring.
Dunk Mara
Hunter,
underwater too.
not Thaddeus, do we need to teach you how to be romantic?
Meanwhile,
I thought you
Thaddeus,
read all of those like
I
sloppy
can't hear her.
novels.
I can't hear her.
You're ignoring all of them because you're hearing Dawn's words telepathically in your head, where she says, Thaddeus, I'm really glad to hear that you made it there safely. I've been in contact with Bree, my friends, and apparently they've met up with Mandus and are working on a way to get me out. I think I'm in the capital. Yeah. Stay safe. I hope to see you soon.
That's about it. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
I might have gone over 25 words, I'm not sure.
That's
But-
fine. Whatever. That spell
That's
is
the
kind
gist.
of like.
That's the gist of what she said.
So, and then I would just kind of like, after you guys calm down, I'd be like, so how would we accomplish that? Like, what do you guys want to do? It's gonna.
Well, I think we should hatch some kind of elaborate plan to frame Gavin for some kind of awful crime, and then the entire capital will hate him, and Dawn will see that he's an awful doo-doo head, and he'll go to jail, and then she'll have no choice but to marry Thaddeus.
Point of clarification, Dawn has never said that she likes Gavin.
I know.
Why don't we
have
just-
to frame him. He is a doo-doo head. We just have to actually
He's committed actual crimes that we
Yeah.
can actually pin on him.
Right.
Even better! Oh my gosh, you guys, this is such a great plan.
It's a bit in the future though. Right now, I just want to.
Okay.
So we uncover the secrets of his awfulness for the world. Shouldn't be too hard. We've done it before. He's kind of creepy. And he had that gross slimy thing that lived under his bed.
The laugh from the bottle echoes in your mind. As you guys are having this conversation, the monkeys in the other side of the bath have started a splash fight and are splashing each other with hot water.
How many? Don't you have other things to take care of after this? Not that I wouldn't be grateful for your help with Gavin, but your tribe, your all that.
I mean, I don't really have anything. They don't need me for anything. They're fine.
What about your mother? Don't you want to see her?
I mean, no. I feel like
She doesn't mean it.
I feel like she's probably really mad at me, and if I see her again, she's just gonna really yell at me, and I kind of don't need that in my life, you know. I'm an independent woman now.
And I was watching from the start.
Hmm.
And then you all started saying it. So every time she says I mean, I have to take a drink.
Oh, that's funny. All right.
Well, you get a picture.
Drinking game.
I mean,
Dang it. But now you told her.
She doesn't realize she says it though.
That's okay.
so she's basically like gonna rip me a new one. I know she will, because like everything that happened since I left is probably all my fault. And like,
And honestly, will she even recognize you?
I don't know. She'll see me like this, and she'll be like, "Why aren't you better at controlling your magic?" And I'll be like, "I tried, Mom, but no one's as incredible as you are. You need to just relax." And she'll just be like, "No, you need to control. It's so easy. Just do it." And I'm gonna be like, "Shut up, Mom. You don't know what you're talking about." She's like, "Actually, I do, because I have wild magic too. You son of a bitch."
Should we call
Just
her
call
own
herself a
daughter?
bitch.
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
That's beside the point. You're missing the whole point. Anyway, she is the last time I saw her, she was not with the tribe, and I have a feeling that it's all my fault. So maybe it's better that I just stay away, you know, because like maybe this whole like weird wild magic thing isn't like for them anymore, and that's cool. Like if they want to just, you know, pick a new leader, even though my great grandmother was super awesome, that's fine. I like sink into the
I would
water.
like to insight check for that.
I like sink into the water as I'm talking. So it's like
15, it's not bad.
I mean, yeah, I'm full of shit.
Yeah.
I'm like super worried about it and also super guilty. Like super ashamed. I broke the dynasty.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we could pencil that into the agenda.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I don't have my things on me, but I'll add it.
Okay.
What's on the agenda right now?
3 steps are
Prophet is the last one, right?
1, gain the Forest Great Spirit's blessing. 2, save Orin. 3, kill a Roach.
4 Prophet.
No, you 4 question mark.
I
5
forgot.
Oh yeah, 4 Prophet.
I think you have the whole page of the agenda. Kill Archie. And then make Gavin pay.
It's somewhere down there. It's on the list.
Okay.
Whether or not it comes before restoring you to the tribe,
I mean, they don't need me though. It's fine.
it's up for discussion.
They're. I mean, yeah, my friends all probably hate me now too, except for Radiance. Radiance.
I was just about to say, she seemed alright.
Yeah.
It is on that
Did you have a
uncanny
special
moment,
thought?
Harmony, that you feel a little pain in your head, that you recognize as someone trying to contact you, and you can tell that it's Radiance.
Uh-huh. She always knew exactly when to make her entrance.
And as her voice begins to fill your head, it's that same, you know, warm, comforting voice that you recognize. And she says, "Hi, Harmony. It's Radiance. Just wanted to let you know that your imp friend arrived.
Yay!
And he had the skull that you mentioned in tow. So I've got it. I'm keeping it safe. Consider it handled."
All right, I'll respond. Oh, Radiance, I was just talking about you. Thanks so much for agreeing to help with this. I'm on another adventure, but I'll meet up with you when it's over. Stay safe. Something like that.
You feel the message go off into the arcane ether, and you know without a doubt that it was received.
And more confusion. No.
I was just talking about you. You knew that.
So, Harmony, did you have a special acting privilege?
Ugh. No.
Oh no, not back at her village.
Tiefling guys
Oh,
are
yeah.
weird.
Oh.
Tiefling guys are weird and kind of ugly.
You feel another pain in your head.
Oh no.
And you, again, instinctively know it to be Radiance. And she says, "Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. Remember a while back when I was saying that something bad was coming for you? Well, I've been getting less premonitions about that. So whatever it is, it must be backing off somehow? I don't know. Whatever it is, you seem safe for the time being. So keep doing what you're doing."
I had completely forgotten about that. But thanks for the anti-warning?
Comfort.
Update?
The message goes off into the ether.
Thanks for the anti-warning.
So bizarre that all of a sudden you just stop and look off, hearing an internal
Yeah.
message.
It was like
Hang on,
confusion.
hang on, it's the other line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other line. The non-message line.
Ranting about her village and all of a sudden,
Yeah, twice.
One of the older monkeys has picked up a younger monkey that clearly started the splash fight by the scruff and set it up on the edge of the hot spring. And as it does so, you can see that this younger monkey actually has 3 tails curling off of its back. And it just kind of like crosses its arms like this and slouches. And like when the older monkey turns its back and goes back to the pool, it just sticks its tongue out.
Yeah. He's in trouble.
My kind of monkey.
I thought he was going to say they were starting to clean poop.
I'm so worried about that.
I know.
We're in a spring. If we get dirty, we can just clean ourselves off.
In the poop water.
Mara's a germaphobe.
I know, who knew?
Who knew?
I don't know.
We're up with all those filthy pirates.
Wait, so what were you talking about for so long with Genbu and your granddaughter?
It's kind of weird.
That's
She's
kind
really
of
more
weird.
like your daughter, but
Daughter?
Spiritual daughter.
We just found out that we have a lot in common. And Genbu gave me a couple of new spells. I'm sure you saw me.
Yeah, that was awesome. I can't even do that.
And that's why I'm kind of on alert around here, because he said to look for something or some sign that's going to help us. I was hoping that would kind of appear while we're chilling in this water.
Didn't Genbu make the fog?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you
him together with the
Yeah,
other.
him and the other spirits did, yeah.
Did you ask him anything about your grandfather? If there was a cure?
He told me a story about my grandfather. And we're to be on the lookout for a evil cursed ship.
Speaking of which, Mara,
guys
you
said
would
it.
recall seeing a giant ship of massive proportions rising up
Yeah.
out of the
We
waves,
chased it, didn't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
we went under the water trying to.
where you heard from the deck sea shanties you recognized that your
Yes.
father's crew used to sing
Yes.
before it
remember.
disappeared into the
I
night.
remember that.
So he's like,
That was on the night that Constance was killed.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say he was pressed into service on this ship by an evil captain. So, and then I go ahead and tell him about the coin and what they're after and everything. So how to keep it hidden and safe, and me hidden and safe,
So we've got to add that to the agenda too.
because
It's getting lengthy.
Pirate
Double booking.
adventure.
I don't even know if there's a way to save my grandfather.
There's
now,
always a way.
because
Harmony.
he's alive but not really.
Roll an Arcana check as Mara gives you the lengthy explanation of everything she learned.
Arcana with int?
Yes. But you can take advantage on this.
Well, okay. I think I will. I rolled the exact same thing.
That's what I did!
Twice. Okay, 15.
15. Well, your basic understanding of magic leads you to believe that there's always a way to break a spell, right? But furthermore, being of infernal legacy, you know a thing or two about deals that require the cost of a soul, and that's a very devilish motif.
Yeah, good thing I made that open-ended
I
promise.
was
up
just
with
gonna
that one
say.
devil.
I was just gonna say maybe
Maybe he can help us.
Oh.
Yeah.
He did say to call us if we ever needed help getting out of the contract.
You love my grandfather.
Yeah, he's like an infernal lawyer.
He's so great.
He was one of the lawyers for
At
Glacia,
Oh, yeah.
one of the lords of the Nine Hells.
Yeah.
And I think you guys have figured out that she was also rumored to be Asmodeus' daughter.
That's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a connection with
We
Asmodeus.
had that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can take that.
Mm-hmm.
Open-ended favor. Yeah.
Sure you will.
Well, it's good to know he didn't die a horrible death from disease.
Yes, because I felt, you don't know how guilty I felt leaving him in distress.
But now that you know he's alive, if you wanted to, there is a way you could check up on him.
I mean, Daddy just used the Ruby of Sending, so you'll have to wait until tomorrow. But
But don't we have a crystal ball?
that's true. You'd have to attend to it again, though.
I would have to know, would I have to know where the ship is or what the ship looks
No,
like?
you could spy on a
Just pick a
person.
creature.
Ah. Okay,
Yeah, you can do like person, place, or thing, right?
okay.
I think person or place.
Yeah, I don't think you can describe an object.
I think it's back in my position now, isn't it?
Yeah, you
So
have it.
to change it.
You just have to attend to it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Man, I wish we had some alcohol. Wasted all that fine alcohol on Thaddy and Dawn. I shouldn't say wasted. That was a pretty good.
Maybe I could ask. Maybe I could ask the.
If this place used to be an inn of sorts, it's possible it would have some in like a back room.
Yeah, I'll be like, well, these places like this typically have a stock.
I'm gonna grab my towel. No, I'm not gonna grab my towel. I'm gonna
Run
turn
through the inn
myself
naked and soaking.
invisible and then go run through the inn and touch some alcohol.
And then
All right, roll for wild magic just to check.
I think.
Nope.
Maybe like when I see that your eyes light up with excitement, like normal, I'll go with you. Because
Nope.
I think I know
I
where
turn
it is.
myself invisible and I just run.
Like, oh shoot.
You see like wet footprints.
Oh my
Roll
I
a stealth
tried.
check.
I
Roll a
tried.
perception if you want to follow. Harmony, you have advantage.
I have advantage. Little tiny wet footprints running down. Slap out loud. Okay, what is?
Not bad.
Ah, dirty 20.
For what?
Not at all.
Stealth.
It's for stealth.
I mean, you've got pretty high perception.
Yeah,
I could try, I guess.
I've got speak with animals still active, so Byakko kind of turns his wet head towards you. His fur is all like
Yeah.
matted down to his body, and he just says, "You want me to follow her, Master?"
Just let it go.
No, I think
Daddy is so
I'll-
laid back.
I'll set the dice down and
so
be like,
relaxed.
Like a different person.
no, well, it's fine.
Okay, go
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
All right.
I've got woodworking. I can build a hot tub.
You sure can.
You can sit in
And I can heat it.
All right, Harmony, roll an investigation check.
All right.
I don't know if you should have like a hot coal thing in a wooden ship. Just saying.
I mean, there's already like a kitchen,
Tides
so
of chaos. Oh, that's kind of better. 11.
11.
Mm.
You sort of run by all of the rooms and
naked.
Naked
But invisible.
leaving little wet footprints all the way. As you sort of look into each room briefly, you don't see much in the first couple rooms. You still continue to peek into them just to be safe. And in one of the rooms, you actually spot 2 traveling packs just sitting on the floor next to the bedroll thing that you would presumably unfurl to sleep on.
Is there anyone in the room?
Not that you see.
They have like dust on them.
Is there?
For that?
Is there?
Oh, sorry.
You're not with me. No, I was gonna say, is there like? I want to check the door for booby traps
Okay, roll an
Before-
investigation check.
before I go inside. Oh, that's a 21.
Okay. Yeah, there's actually a little tripwire along the bottom that's very thin, and you kind of lean in and look up to see what it's wired to, and there's a sack of flour that would fall on an intruder's head.
I'm going to step very carefully over the tripwire and enter the room.
Oh, that
Yep,
would've been
no
so
issue.
funny. It would've turned
Not
into
naked
face.
anymore.
Silhouette of naked Harmony in flower.
You, because you're wet.
I know.
Gross. Ooh.
Yeah,
And
and
then
you
I'll
sort of
check
creep
specs.
into these traveling packs, and they're made from
Lead back.
leather, nice leather that's been tanned and turned into this backpack. And they're pretty light. There's not much in them. And you can see because they're kind of open to the top. You don't have to dig through to see. Most of what you can see looking straight in seems to be clothing of some kind. It's dark in here, so you can't really see color and make out, but you can make out there's like floral patterns on them. And then, like the voice of Mara in your head points out to check, there's no dust on them. Though some of the other like tables and things in this room do have a little bit of dust.
There's nothing in here that could give me any hint as to who owns these.
You wanna look? You wanna like pull things out?
Yeah.
Sure. You pull out 2 sets of robes, kimonos, effectively. One from each pack, and they both are. And you don't have any way of distinguishing like whether they're made for male or female, but one of them is smaller than the other. And roll an investigation check as you sort of investigate these garments.
Okay. I don't know which one to use. 14.
There's something odd about them, which is that on the back area, they kind of, there's like a split where the robe opens up.
For like a tail.
Maybe?
I mean, I wear stuff with
That's
splits
true,
for
yeah.
tails.
It's very like the sort of outfit that you would make for yourself then.
Okay. Okay.
Welcome to your room.
If that's all that's in the bag or just the clothes?
Pretty much. And there's like some dried meat and things like that. But
Yeah, like fold it up.
though, what was your investigation check as you looked through the bag? Do you remember?
14.
14?
That was my
Yeah.
most recent
Okay.
one. That was looking at yeah.
You also, with that, in one of the bags, the one that had the bigger set of robes, you do find a ceramic jug that, as you slosh it, sounds like it has some liquid in it, and it's got a single character on the front, like a word in Keen, but you can't read it.
Can I open it and just smell it?
Yeah, it's pungent smell that you've probably not smelled before. But it smells alcoholic, perhaps.
All right, I put that in, and
For player knowledge, it smells like sake.
Yeah. I fold up all the things and put them back in the bag nicely, but I take the bottle.
So while you're gone, I'm like, she's probably not going to bring the little things. Should have gone with her.
The little things.
Yeah. I'm like saying oh, she's probably not going to bring the little platforms, the little
Oh, like the trays.
the trays. Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh well, it's fine.
Don't worry about it.
I run back.
Oh, I won't worry about it.
I do another cannonball.
Roll another performance check. You've learned from your mistakes.
We can hear you coming. Here to go.
20. Dirty 20.
20, yeah. This time you angle your body just so that it splashes Thaddeus, Hunter, and Mara all in the face. You guys are treated to a mouthful of water.
You're not quite sure when it's coming. You can hear it, but you can't
Yeah,
see
okay.
it.
Hi, Harmony.
Welcome back.
I dismiss my invisibility and I hold up the bottle. Hunter, what does it say?
It says sake.
Is it alcohol?
Where are the trays?
What trays?
Well, typically you have trays and.
I mean, it's a bottle. You just. I am.
Oh no,
Look,
Harmony.
look, look, look. And I
That's
have
not how you
it to Thaddeus. Ooh, that's the stuff.
Strong.
Yeah, some.
Like, what are you doing?
I
I
don't
didn't even ask me where it's from.
It doesn't affect me anymore.
Yeah.
Look at Biako.
They'll pass.
I think so.
Okay.
Bottoms up, Mara.
I'll smell it.
I guess.
Just a little. But I'll hand it back to Harmony. She looks like she needs
Look,
it
look,
more
look,
than
look,
I
look,
do.
look, look.
Alright, I think Harmony needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Not that many plugs.
Look, 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 look.
Small creature
Thaddeus is
Harmony.
probably still okay.
I'm very small. That is a 22.
22. Yeah, I mean, you can feel it, like, it's getting you to the point where, like, it's elevating your spirits and it feels good, but you're still in complete control of your faculties.
Oh yeah, I like this stuff. We're gonna have to find more of it while
Has
we're
kind
here.
of a sweet aftertaste to it as well.
Find anything else in there interesting?
Well, there was a room with some bags in it. Looked like there's other customers here, probably. I wonder if those are the people. Also, they have tails, and they wear funny dresses.
It begins to snow. Just lightly.
Were they?
Snow
I
drifts
hand you a
down.
bottle.
Are you making it snow? Not kidding.
No, it's not me.
How much is there left after each of
Maybe
us?
about a quarter? It's not a huge jug, so.
I'll take a little sip.
I don't want any more. I want to look out for a fortune guide.
You're putting it away. I use telekinesis to bring it back to me.
Are you still in your
Or mage hand.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take my rings or my amulet off when I just my dress.
They just might get rusty, I guess.
Nah.
You like put your wait? You didn't even put your towel on, did you?
No, but I'm in the water again.
You need your towel.
I can need my towel when I'm in the water.
Thaddeus just watches the jug float over your head.
Just use telekinesis to bring it back.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mari, you said you were going to be on the lookout
Make another
for
check.
fortune guide. Roll a perception check.
She's
Can I-
drinking from the bottle again. Does she have to make another Constitution check?
Oh, you're
I'm
drinking more?
polishing it up.
Polishing
No one
it up.
else wants
Make
it
one
anymore.
Can I help Mara?
Sure.
Because I got a 6.
Go ahead and roll again then if I'm helping you.
Oh
Oh no.
11.
Are you trained in perception?
I am.
Is it? Are you proficient in perception?
He said, I'm doing a Constitution.
No.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
making
one-
a perception check, right?
Yes, I am.
So
those
the
were
lowest
really
you can
good.
get is 10.
Yeah, so those were really good. So 16.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Actually, the first one was.
I also got a 16 on my team. So
Yeah, I mean, with how much you've had, you're starting to feel it a little bit.
that's fine.
Just to the point where you're getting a little bit lightheaded. Combination of the heat from the water plus all the drink. The heat from the water normally wouldn't bother you, obviously. But,
I'm gonna keep the bottle though because it's pretty cool.
Is that common in the regions?
Yeah.
Nice.
Mara,
We need to
That's
stock
the
up.
common.
I like it.
Mara and Hunter, what the two of you notice when you sort of put your brains together and begin looking around this area a little bit more warily and skeptically, is that the number of monkeys in the pond across from you has decreased by 2 since Harmony ran out with the bottle of sake.
There were 3, right?
There are 4.
There were
Four?
there were a group of monkeys there,
Now there's.
and
okay.
now there's just 2 left. There were 4.
Um,
The youngest looking one and the older one that picked the young one up by the scruff and set it on the edge have disappeared.
Okay.
I'm putting the bottle in my bag, the empty bottle, because I like it. It's cool looking.
Did we notice where they went?
So-
just noticed
no,
they're
with
missing.
your roll, you just noticed that they've vanished.
Okay.
So, seeing that those monkeys have 3 tails, they're not normal monkeys. Or are they normal to the reaches, or are they? Do I know anything about them?
There's a lot of strange creatures native to the reaches, but
Yeah.
you've traveled far and wide, and you've never encountered a 3-tailed monkey.
Okay. So now I'm a little bit more suspicious if I wasn't already, but
Maybe she should have shared some with the monkeys.
I'm sitting next to Thaddeus going, you really just ought to tell her how you feel.
I did. You weren't there.
Hunter, did your spell wear off?
Yeah, but,
and
like,
still talk to
What
these
you
animals?
think that you told
Yeah.
her and what you actually told her and how
Talk to
she
them,
accepted
ask
it
them,
are like 3 very different things.
or talk to them and find out why they have 3 tails if they're
There
from the
is.
area.
Harmony, can I be serious
Sure.
with you for a second?
Of course, you can always be serious with me.
It's hard for me to explain that to her because Gavin is a threat, and I need her to break off that engagement. But I need her to break off the engagement for the sake of the country. And if I tell her how I feel, then that message won't get through. It will be,
Why
oh,
not?
Thaddeus wants me to break off my engagement because he's in love with me.
Well, tell her first. The sake of the country, it means that you better break up with Gavin. And also, I'm in love with you. But, like, that's not the important thing here. And then she'll understand. She's really reasonable, you know? It'll be fine.
It just feels to me like I have to do this in a certain order. Or it's just not going to work.
And I like break away. I'm like, yep, listen to the drunk person. I'm like walking towards the monkeys.
I'm just pestering Thaddeus with
Yeah.
this whole
Yeah,
time.
the 2 that are there see you come in, and one of them gives you kind of a little grimace and says, "Now, what do you want?"
Never met a 3-tailed monkey before. What brings you here?
Wait, I'm not a 3. He lifts a single tail out
Well,
of the water.
The
and
other one
shows
had
him.
the little one had 3.
Oh yeah, those 2 were weirdos. I'm glad the bigger one took the little one away. She kept splashing us. No
Oh,
etiquette.
You weren't together
It's a serious issue for us.
in monkey.
You can't understand.
No,
what
we
he's
couldn't
saying.
even communicate. Just the little one was splashing us, and the
I
big
like
one
that
was.
monkey's
Huh.
attitude.
He was okay with it for a little while, but after a point, when we were starting to retaliate, and then he just picked the little one up, pulled her out.
Interesting.
It's weird. She had 3 tails. That's a fact.
Both of them did?
Oh no, the bigger one had a lot more.
Really? Huh. That's interesting. You wouldn't happen to be waiting for someone, would you? Or you just
The monkeys
hear
kind of
enjoying-
look at each other and laugh, and all of you hear that sort of like crazy monkey laugh. But, they then say, "No, not us. We just spend all day here in the hot springs. It's great since all the people left."
It is, isn't it? Well, anyways, I was just come over to ask, but enjoy yourselves, and then I'll part ways again and come back to the group.
And you hear one of them that you were talking to turns to the other one and says, "Now, if all people acted like that, it'd be a lot more pleasant when they come around." Manners.
What about Signe?
I'll come back to
What
Mara
about
next game.
her? She was kind of weird.
Well, did they know
Is she?
when
Wait,
and
is she
people
your
left?
fiance though? Like really?
Oh, they
though?
were being
Like
obnoxious.
really though, she actually is. my
But like,
fiancé.
still though, because what? I mean, after
What,
everything that
what's
happened,
changed?
I think they went into that room.
we don't know
Or
what
just got
what Oren's been telling people in the capital since we
figured it
left.
out.
I mean, I didn't watch them
We could
leave,
be
but
like-
we could.
The capital's
think that's
most
who we're looking
wanted
I don't think we gotta
criminals.
bring them. They're
That's kind of sexy.
gonna-
You
Well,
know?
maybe we should bring him.
No, he needs to watch
That's
her.
actually sort of a cheering
Mhm.
thought, right? I'm surprised.
I'm pretty good at those.
So the only clue you got is to look for the where fortune smiles.
Yeah, but I'm just worried about where those monkeys went.
Didn't she have a sister?
And
Really?
since you can speak to them.
Was in love
Yeah.
with Gavin.
I can.
But then
Wait, I
Gavin
don't
was
understand
engaged to
that.
Don, and then Don and you are in love.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. here.
You should bring
We
up.
don't know
You
about
should bring the chart out again.
There's a chart. It's in my thing.
Oh, I've seen it.
Of course you've seen it.
The chart. That was great. And then I'll like, aha. Those monkeys are single-tailed monkeys, and they said they
You have
couldn't
no idea
communicate
what's
with the
happening.
multi-tailed monkeys. So those multi-tailed monkeys must be spirits.
Okay.
Are you only trying to get me to talk about Dawn so you don't have to talk about Eli?
I am your biggest advocate, Thaddeus, and it's not at all related to Eli. Why would you even bring that up?
Harmony's cheeks turn a little bit purple.
I mean, they're still kind of purple from the alcohol and the heat. Anyway.
Did you want to go check?
Yes. I can put my towel up. Is there anywhere private I can put the towel up and put my clothes back on? Well, I guess the room we came in.
There are bushes and stuff.
Yeah, there's nature.
Yeah.
around it.
Definitely.
You can go behind a tree.
Unless you want to press the taste the water off of me.
I mean, I'm really engaged in a conversation over here.
Yeah.
It's like real serious talk.
Yeah.
We're getting into it.
We're getting into
You
it.
seem to be on the subject, is why I brought dear Eli up.
The subject of what?
Of
So, Mara, you get up,
I don't know what that word means.
completely ignoring this pair having their conversation about their love interests. And
our shipper discussion over here.
Our shipper discussion.
Place for a soap opera.
you stand up out of the water to go to the tree and get your towel off of it. But when you do, that's the moment when you notice a figure standing before the tree, wrapped in one of your 5 towels, and one figure sitting on the branch of the tree, wrapped in another one of your 5 towels. The figure standing before the tree is just kind of leaning suavely on it. He is a man, tall and handsome features, very angular. Same skin tone as people of this region tend to have. Long black hair that sort of comes down to his shoulders, which is wet from being in the water. And poking up from the top of his head are 2 white furry ears, triangular in shape, and they seem to be wet as well. The figure that is sitting in the tree branch is a young girl, maybe about 20 or so in appearance, 18 to 20, somewhere in there. And she has a lot of similar features to the man standing next to her, who has the sort of very angular features, except that she, instead of wearing a almost like cocky grin, is wearing a mischievous laugh on her face, and her eyes, which are a blue color, which is both of their eyes are blue actually, which is sort of strange for people of this land. Sort of sparkle with mischief. and the two of them look at you coming towards the tree, and the male figure has an arm behind his back, and he pulls it out, and it's the sake jug, and he says, "Going through other people's stuff, were we?"
That was in my pack.
Wait, was that now? That's tomorrow, right?
Well, he says it sort of to the group of you, and but clearly it's directed at Harmony, and that is when he says this, that's when everyone's attention comes to him.
Well,
Oh, you brought more!
No, you pretty much polished off my whole stash, and I can't say I expected anything else after I saw how you came in here, but
This isn't common.
yes, he's speaking in common.
well, we thought the place was abandoned.
I told you we should have offered him some.
Are they
We heard
spirits?
a little birdie.
Yes, very
Okay.
clearly so.
Okay.
Mhm.
Are they what?
Spirits.
I mean,
Okay.
they have. I'll let you roll a history check at advantage, I guess.
Okay. That is 16.
They're very clearly a shapeshifter spirit of types,
Mm-hmm.
and the tip that you have giving you a clue as to their identity is obviously the ears on the top of their heads.
Sure.
Which could be one of a few things, but given the fact that you know that they had varying numbers of tails, if they are the same monkeys that were in the pond earlier, leads you to believe kitsune.
Yeah.
And what you know about kitsune is that they're one of those spirits that can range from just plain mischievous to downright evil. Rarely you meet one that actually has like good intentions at heart, but usually it's either mischief or evil that they get up to.
So I will message the group and say, be on guard with these two. They might be trouble.
That is Miss Hunter back. I'm naked.
Well, just, keep your wits about you.
Sort of observing this uneasiness between you as you realize you're naked in the hot spring and utterly defenseless. He sort of turns his back to you and looks over his shoulder, and you can see on his well-muscled back is tattooed an ornate. It covers most of his back. There is a like a symbol, actually like a map of the Elder Hidden Reaches as you've seen it depicted by Hunter, sort of in the middle, and then to the north of it there's a picture of a turtle. To the east there is a dragon. To the west there is a tiger, and to the south there is a bird. And they're all surrounding this island. And he points to the turtle on the back at the very top and says, my music stopped.
I thought this was like Spirit Yakuza for a second. You said like tattoo and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, uh-oh. What have we done?
He says, relax, I'm the guy you're here to see. The name's Takumi.
Are you is he a fox?
Kitsune.
Yeah.
Taco meat?
Takumi.
Taco meat?
T-A-K-U-M-I. And he points to the girl Kitsune up in the tree, and he says, and this rambunctious one here is my daughter, for better or worse. Her name's Yuki.
I'll say, yeah, you sure made those monkeys upset.
Yeah, well, monkeys are gonna be monkeys.
Better not let them hear you say that.
He kind of shrugs.
Shrug.
Yes, I'm right next to you, Fatty.
Can you get me a towel?
Look, if you want a towel, here. He like tosses one out over the water.
Catches. Starts to stand up.
So you know Genbu?
Yeah, I know the guy. I know the rest of them too. I owe a couple of them some favors. Sort of why I'm doing this. And Yuki sort of lets herself fall backwards off of the tree, catching herself by her knees, and sort of hangs there backwards looking at the group of you and says, yeah, but I don't owe them any favors, so why do I have to come, Dad? And he's like, don't worry, it'll be fine, kid. these sorts of things are always fun. Well, anyways,
Waiting for
Sorry.
Hunter to leave
Sure.
the conversation.
Well, I'm like, yeah, okay. So what sort of, what favor are you doing, or what's your business here then?
well, the big turtle boss tells me that you guys are in the market to find some of the sacred treasures of this here country,
That's right.
and that you're on a bit of a limited time scale.
The sooner the better.
He nods. So me and Yuki here, we're gonna do what we can to perform a little reconnaissance. If we can get our hands on one ourselves, that'd be great. And then we'll meet up. Well, we'll meet up with you and hand it over. If we can't, then we'll meet up with you at some point and provide you with intel and assistance. So you guys just tell us which ones you're going after, and we'll head for whichever ones you don't.
Well, we'd like to go after all of them, obviously.
Is this a no strings attached type of deal? It seems a little bit convenient for us.
We had sort of bad luck with the last helpful guy we met.
That's
Yeah.
very true.
He flashes a smile at Thaddeus and then turns to Hunter and says, "Look, you're from here. You know what you're dealing with. I can see in your eyes you know what you're dealing with. But here's the thing. The strings that are attached here are between me and the big boss. You know, turtle fellow.
Yeah.
So you don't got anything to worry about."
I'm gonna roll inside anyways.
Alright.
I think I would say.
I'm busy getting out of the hot spring, drying myself off with precipitation, and then putting my clothes back
I didn't
on.
roll very well.
Neither did I.
You did better than me though.
I got 11.
I got a 9.
With an 11 and a 9, he's very smooth,
Yeah.
very cool, and a little bit untrustworthy because of that. But you don't know if that's because you're sensing he's lying or just because you're a little bit on edge. The one thing I will say for Hunter specifically is that most spirits, unless they're of the evil variety, would be foolish to get on the bad side of one of the greater spirits. So,
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Well, if we play along here, what do you know about the relics so far?
Well, I mean, the big boss told me where they're situated, and then Yuki kind of hops down from the tree and lands on her feet, and just kind of flashes that mischievous little smile and
Harmony
says,
smile.
"Pretty much, yeah, pretty similar." And she's actually of a similar height.
Yeah.
That is
No,
back
she's
and
taller
forth,
than
like,
Harmony.
uncanny.
She said, and she just sort of on her fingers says, "Forest of Death, Tengu Monastery, Imperial Palace," and then counts back down the fingers from the Imperial Palace one. The gem, the mirror, the sword.
And then, knowing those places, I would kind of try and recite which islands those are all on, and then think about our conversations of where we're actually going, and then select the one that we're not going to and say, well, we're going to head for these two, probably, whatever those are. I don't
That
know.
was the most descriptive way of
Well,
telling
I'm-
that
I'm-
to our audience who
Yeah.
doesn't know what conversation
That's
we're
right.
having.
Yeah.
So you guys were going to try and hit the
So,
one with the sword,
we're
which is the
saying,
Forest of Death.
Like, we're heading south, and we're just gonna hit them as we head south. So, Forest of Death.
Is that the one? Okay. Because I didn't remember. That's why I was saying it.
I know, they're very obscure, very vaguely.
Yeah.
So we're going to the Forest of Death to get the sword, and then we're going to the
lab.
the lab
I think so.
Yeah.
to get the mirror, and then we'd go to the palace to get the gem.
All right. When you sort of describe those plans, Yuki looks up at her father and says, "Wait, so Daddy, this means that we get to go to Enyo? That means I've never seen the summer before. I better get shedding." And she like starts pulling at her ears a little bit. And he kind of gives like a frustrated little smile, like, "Great, we're going to Suzaku's to me." But
That is looks over at Harmony to see if she's also going to start shedding.
Yeah.
I'm like looking back at Thaddeus. Like, what are you looking at?
Just never mind.
And so he's after giving his daughter that little smile, he sort of looks back to the group of you and says, "All right, well that's that then. I guess we've got our directive and you've got yours. No
So
need
you're
to
gonna
prolong
go
this meeting much longer than we already have to."
reconnaissance the last place for us?
Yeah, and he shrugs
Try and
again and
save us
says,
some time?
"If I can get hold of the gem, I'll bring it to you. If I can't, I'll bring you some good information and whatever help I can.
Okay.
Either one fulfills my deal."
Well, next time we meet, I'll make sure to have some sake to give you.
Kind of
What
gives
you
you the
love.
finger guns and says, "I like this guy."
Can I keep that bottle? It's really cool.
He looks at it and tosses it to you with a grin and says, "Yeah, it's not worth much."
I catch it with telekinesis. Yay.
Thaddeus gives best attempt at a noble bow. Use his towel.
He just kind of gives you a little head nod, and Yuki just kind of does a little chuckle when she sees the like non-reciprocated. What's the word I'm looking for?
Formalities or something.
Formalities. Yep. And the two of them, as if communicated telepathically, sort of with that last smile and laugh, turn and begin to walk out of the hot spring. As they do, transforming sort of before your eyes, their clothes melding into their forms into two small, live, white Arctic foxes that begin to run out of sight and into the hotel, or the inn. And as they do so, the inn itself and the walls around it, everything that was structure to this place begins to shimmer and dissipate and fade out of existence until you are sitting in a hot spring pool in the middle of open space. There never was any structure here to begin with.
Is
And you can just see sparrows chirping in the trees.
No wonder I've never been here before.
Is the water still heated, or was that
The water's still heated. And the monkeys just kind of like look at you and just shake their heads. And that's where we're going to end tonight.
Disapproving monkeys.
Disapproving monkeys.
So thank you to anyone who tuned in to watch. We will be back next week to get into some action down in the Forest of Death in Byako's domain of Hazuki. So that should be really exciting. I have a lot of planning to do. Hope to see you then. Thank you for watching tonight, and have a good night. Bye.